Hi, welcome. This is Blackstar, and I've got Narcogen with me here, and we're going to be going through my second carry of Trials of Osiris. And if anybody remembers last time, I put a little clip at the beginning of one of our videos showcasing my carry for the very first time. Well, this is my second. And and Narc has never played. He's never gone through these, and this I think would be an interesting showcase to see what the actual experience is like. And I'd like to thank Roacon27 and A Beast the Fourth to bring me on my second carry in less than 50 minutes. Now, this one's actually going to be chopped up a little bit. As you can see, that was game one.
Yeah. Did you actually do any of that? I saw you throw a grenade. Was that...
Yep. I've been relegated for this because I'm the carry in this thing, and so these guys carried. Are... Oh, yeah, well, totally. Everybody knows I need to get carried. But what's really funny is that because I'm in a support position, I've got to get reses, cover doors when they chase people, pick up cleanups when people drop, that kind of thing. So you won't see...
before we get to the advanced stuff, we'd just say, now there are in each one of the... Wow, that...
see what I mean?
Went through, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that is going to be
your
pretty much how it goes.
plugged in, or do you have elastic bands on it?
No, my controller is plugged in, and I'm actually performing tactics. My job here is to stay with them as much as possible, to follow around where they go and what they do. But when they die, to pick them up.
Right.
Well, that's, believe it or not, that is actually one of the #1 things you have to do in Trials. And it sounds easy, but it's not. Because a lot of times what happens is that when the carry dies... Yeah, I killed somebody. When the carry dies, that puts them at a disadvantage, and that usually makes the other team very aggressive, so they end up pushing harder than the other two guys can support. Now, these guys are fantastic. These guys, my first run, I talked about it before, it took, 9 weeks and, 12 people all tried.
Wait, how many rounds is that? Is this 4?
Well, this is third. This is actually our third win. The opposing team has not won anything yet. And this one's on Anomaly, so it's a very tight map. It's very quick. The spawns are very, very close to each other.
So how many rounds in a match, and how many matches to go flawless?
5 matches in a game, and you need to have 9 in a row. Now, the boons and everything is what I was telling before, because the way it works is that you go to the reef to talk to Brother Vance, and you pick up a passage coin. And when you use...
That gets you a mercy, right?
Well, you get boons. You put boons on the coin itself. You have 3 different boons, and if you win your first game, that actually gives you a bonus. It gives you a mercy if you do lose 1. They let you have it. Yeah, that I pushed a little hard.
But you overthrew the grenade, too.
Oh, I did, yeah, because he rushed. And the way that it works is that... if you actually win your first one, it actually counts as a couple of extras. So you actually win 3 games instead of 1.
Oh wow! Okay.
Oh yeah, it's nice. And as you'll see as we progress on here, that was actually the first game. all 5. It was a sweep, 5-0. And now we're starting game 2. So that's how quickly it can actually go. And my first runs. When I went flawless, it took 10 hours. I can't tell you how many cards we went through. I think it was something like 14 cards. I went with these guys, and we went through 1 card. That's how much of a difference it was between the two. So these guys were fantastic. And as you can see, they're taking care of the vast majority of it. I do have some cool plays, but most of it is actually me either keeping up, doing support stuff, picking up ammo, and that's it. That's literally how quick some of these go. But there are a lot of tactics with it, and a lot of experience goes with it too. There are some really, really sweaty players. These ones for the early games are definitely a lot easier. And depending on the types, and here actually I thought I got stuck. And fortunately I didn't.
So did
That's why I was pulling back. Yeah, I totally thought I got stuck, but no, I did not.
So is the strat on ammo is that you just pick up ammo whenever you pass it to deny it to the other team, or?
Well, that is one thing. And now that the way special works is that when you die, you lose all your special unless you have a sidearm. The sidearm you have 1 ammo clip when you come back. So a lot of times in these games, you'll see people when ammo comes up, which takes 30 seconds to spawn in, a lot of people will actually switch to shotguns. Now there I made a mistake. I stayed way too close, and that nade ended up getting both of us. And I feel really bad about this, because watch what happens here. I get the revive for my other teammate here, and he gets pushed hard. Titan comes in, melee him, he's down, and now I'm the last guy, and there's one other guy. And I do a mistake. I pull back.
You went right back to the revive.
I dump a nade to cover this res, but I forgot there's another res right there. So he pulls up that out, everyone gets over-shields, and it turns into a melee fest. So that unfortunately didn't work. I was hoping my grenade would keep him off the res, and it didn't happen. Here's one that I actually pull off beautifully.
You're in the lead.
Very, very similar situation we're going to find in a second. They actually come up, and I actually have to cover the res. And this guy actually nails me really quick with the last word, but he's down too. He was, he was weak.
Pretty much like a replay of what happened in the last round.
Well, watch this. So Roacon gets me up. I've now got an overshield. He comes out, and unfortunately, Beast gets nailed by this aftershock here, so I have to back off. And now I see the guy behind me, so I'm like, great. So I dump the grenade, but now it's on the res.
Yeah.
He gets it, dies. Next guy comes up, he dies, and I get them both.
Nice.
And that's how I wanted the last one to go, but it didn't happen, obviously. So that's the difference between a good run covering the res and a bad one.
Heavy ammo inbound.
So now this is heavy round, and heavy. I need kills with heavy for the book, but unfortunately, especially with this map being where it is, getting heavy is really difficult, and I usually don't get that lucky.
Heavy ammo.
And as you see that body,
yep,
he got ground up in the little spinner. And here I just finally, okay, I want to eliminate this, so I slam, and I use my super. And that gets us up to 4. And a lot of times when you do this, the timing of supers, of not only yours, but theirs, cannot win or lose complete games. I've seen 4-1 comebacks simply because of how the supers are timed, you know? So that's something you always got to worry about, too. And guess what happens?
Oh, wow. Yeah, you didn't even do anything. Oh,
they didn't.
Kidding? Oh, you're right.
They left.
Yeah, I'm looking at the...
They didn't even bother playing the last round. So as you can see, that puts us up because we won the first one, and they jumped out of the second. That brings us out to game 4. And as you see, I actually got an extra kill than my guys. So that felt good. But look what happens next.
Alpha team.
We don't get matched up to anyone.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. A lot of times this happens where people... No, well,
hacks.
Nope. Believe it or not, a lot of times when either people are having network issues or they check up your stats online, they don't want to play you.
Oh.
And that's what happened, I think.
Isn't that also what happens if one of your teammates is DDoSing your opponents, though? Isn't it also look
usually
like that?
If you're getting DDoS, it happens one at a time. So you'll be 2-on-3, and then 1-on-3, and then 0-on-3.
Because I've seen several complaints lately from people who say that Bungie is not being active enough in banning trials.
I don't think they can, personally. But yeah, that does happen a lot. I've gotten DDoSed in games before.
People who go flawless every weekend with... 9-win streaks with 0 kills. With 0 kills. Because the games are not actually being played.
Yep. No, I did get a bulletproof. Now, as you can see, I mean, nobody's pulling anything funny here. These guys don't have to. You know what I mean? If you look up their scores online, you'll see that they're excellent players. They do very, very well. So nobody has to be messing around with that. But as you can see, this is another thing that happens. We've got 2 down, and I've got to cover the orbs. Because revives is the other big things in trials. Because even though you kill a person, they can either, if they're a self-res warlock, come back if they have their super. But the other thing is that if they have quick res gear on, they can get the opposing players up very rapidly. And in fact, I debated about using quick res gear. There's a chest piece for the Titan, or going double nades, and they suggested going double nades instead.
Is it Alpha Lupi, or is it the other one?
No, it's Alpha Lupi, and the one that I'm using right now is Armentarium, though, so I can get an extra lightning grenade, because you can do a lot of map controls with those, and especially with these tiny rooms and hallways, those lightning grenades can be great. But right now they're just saving up supers. As you can see, I can see the guy around the corner, but it's not worth challenging. At the 10-second mark, you've got to run over to capture a point.
Capture the zone.
And yeah, once you get the flag point, that counts as the win.
Oh.
So that's how they keep it from people griefing
I
or
thought
doing
these were
goofy
all
things.
elimination games, just 3 and down and no objectives.
Oh, they are. Up until the last 10 seconds, you actually have a flag point that you have to go to. And the funny thing is, when the clock comes up, where you're in overtime, you have to get there, and
Right,
whoever
so
is the closest
That's how it ends
gets it.
if you don't down all 3 at once.
Correct.
Okay.
Now here's something really nasty. This is another tragic thing. No Land Beyond, the headshot stuff. I thought I was clear behind that wall, and apparently I wasn't. I got no landed in the head. So when I went to get the res, both of them just covered me, and then they just bum rushed our last guy, which happens a lot. So even when you can get the res, sometimes you shouldn't. So gauging when and where everyone is. And I thought I was behind the wall enough, but obviously he was able to get a shot off.
Get it done.
But now we're 1-1. And this team was actually very good. They were doing almost the exact same stuff as the guys that I were. They have 2 Warlocks maxed up, and they have self-res as well as Nova. So they have grenades that can push you. They have those Axion bolts. And those also can be brutal on this map because they can chase you around incessantly. And when they hit you, you suddenly become absolute. They can pick you off quite easily. So as you can see, they're pushing over on the left. I'm covering the edges for where they're retreating and the orbs here. I'm putting a grenade up to dissuade him from jumping straight across so they can shoot him down the hallway on the left. So he's deciding not to push at this point. I think he does eventually. He does actually come up. I'm checking the cave. I'm checking the front again. So they can push him while I can cover orbs and make sure that nobody gets the res, so we're facing other players.
You earned it.
So that worked out well for that. But these guys were definitely touched. In fact, there's one round coming up where it just turned into a res fest, where it was just ping-ponging back and forth an insane amount of times.
Have they ever made Elimination an Iron Banner type? Have they done that?
I don't know if it ever run as an Iron Banner. It is a regular game type, and that's what a lot of the trials play in between the weekends.
Right.
They just play Elimination 3v3.
I honestly don't know if I've ever played a game of Elimination. Like, I would say the vast majority of my Crucible play has been Iron Banner play, really.
Yeah.
And occasionally a few other types. Like, I think I played a bit of Supremacy when it came out, and Mayhem Clash when it came out, and sometimes those have been Iron Banner games. But probably
as far as the regular stuff?
Yeah, I think the closest I would ever get to voluntarily doing something like Trials would be if there was an elimination type for Iron Banner. And it was like, well, I had to do it for some reason.
Yeah, they're doing Mayhem Clash right now, so that is also a first for trial.
At least for the next
Iron
hour
Banner.
and a half.
Yeah, so it's one of those where, Grenade and Superfest, it's just, a goofy fun time. With this, of course, is highly competitive.
Bring it home, Guardians.
As far as Destiny goes, there are people out there that argue that it's not competitive at all, based on the games that they like. But for me, this is very, very tough for, playing up against very, very experienced players. And the only way really to get through it is by having experienced players on your team as well. Yep, he's down. They're pushing and they're dumping grenades like crazy. And fortunately, sidearms for the win. And also because of the meta change, the ammo being the big cause, you're going to see a lot of sidearms. I've got my Wormwood as my backup too, and the map being the small, Wormwood does work rather well. And here I'm trying to nade heavy to keep them off of it, at least for a bit, because they seem to be on the right based on my radar. So I'm coming up. There's a guy in the corner there I didn't see, and I'm like, oh, jeez. Yep, he's right above me, and fortunately he's running away. So I'm going to nade that anyway. But unfortunately, I think they did grab heavy.
Yeah.
Now there's a guy behind me, and one of my guys jumped in front of me. It scared me. I meleeed instinctively. And now, of course, there's a guy on my left. And boom.
Oh, sniped out of the air.
Yep, right in the air in the jump. And that goes to show you the level of skills that a lot of these players have. Especially with no land where they could one-shot you. And I didn't even know I was jumping there to the very end, but he was peeking, and as soon as he saw me, just took my head right off. So, and one other tactical thing, though, now that I'm dead, I have a bead on him wherever he goes, so I'm relaying his position to the team and that also tactically can be an advantage in some points. Right now they're being pushed with Axion bolts. He's ducking under them and jumping up. And this is where it turns into a res fest. And I kind of wish I'd switched to my other guy's cameras, because he gets the res, so now we've got 2-on-2, now it's 2-on-1, now it's 1-on-1. And of course,
Overtime.
he's going to get another res.
Capture the zone.
He revived. So now it's 1-on-1. They're both going after each other. He gets another res. Now it's 2-on-1. He gets another revive. Now it's 2-on-3. And now he's down. So now it's a 1-on-3, 1-on-2, and now it's one left. So literally, that ping-ponged back and forth in the space of a minute. How many times? I lost count. But they had 6 kills, and for a Trials game, 6 kills in this, yeah, there's either a farm, or you're just having problems rezzing people back and forth. And it can be that crazy that time, it really, really can.
Now, for an entire Trials event, which is over a week, all the
4
matches
days,
are
actually.
played
Starts on
this...
Friday, goes till Monday, yeah.
Okay, so all the matches are played on the same map.
They are, in fact. Well, there have had some types where they were different, where the maps actually...
Really?
I believe it was 2 weeks ago, they actually had maps rotate, which was, to be honest, really cool. I kind of liked it. I know a lot of players did, some players didn't. It all depends on what you like. I personally like it because of variation, and also because it eliminates certain potential advantages. You know, some players are better on some maps than others.
I think I've heard you say before that you do not like this map. Is that true?
I'm not a fan of this. I haven't been a fan of this, but also this map, I was a serious loather of this back in the shotgun meta, where everybody and their cousin had a Matador 64 automatic that would blow you away as soon as you went around a corner. And that was frustrating, especially with as many special drops as they had, and people were able to keep special.
Give 'em hell.
Now with the new meta, that's much less of a problem.
Okay.
Generally, you run into shotgunners.
Why did you switch to Defender just there? What were you doing? What were you thinking about doing?
Here's something I was talking about. A lot of times you see people not only change up weapons, but also change up types. And here they suggested I go to Defender to do this, which is basically at this point what I'm going to do is switch to suppressor grenades to suppress the other guy's supers, which also can be a game changer. Which means if they pop one, I can shut them down, and then my other guys will be able to swoop in on them. So, unfortunately, I got to wait till the nade comes up. Right there, I've got it. So right now I have one suppressor nade, and if and when one of the guys pops a super or is close to one, like that guy, he just popped his storm, so they just say run. And here's the funny thing, on my radar they're to my left, so I sweep right. Well, guess what happens? They also swept right, and I walk right into them. Now, fortunately, his super went down, but I wasn't expecting him there, so I got meleeed to death. But that simple left-right turn, I could have survived if I went to the left, but I didn't. I went to the right, and we lost that round. So a simple turn can make a world of difference in this. So now it's 4-3. We're up by 1. And these guys know what they're doing, so these guys are tough. And I believe they're actually running a carry too, and they're also running double warlock. So they're basically doing the same thing we're doing. So it's a pretty even match here. And the advantages swing back and forth a lot. I'm kind of hanging back a little bit more because they're definitely aggressive. And if they've got their no-lands out, they're just going to pop my head off as soon as I stick it out the wrong door. So I'm trying to mix it up and mess up radars if they're looking or peeking. And that's the other thing. You know, people can peek around doors just by sitting down or picking up a sword or dancing. And that's another tactic that people use. I just heard somebody go invis, so now I'm like, ugh, I gotta back off. And now with special up and them on their radar behind me, I may have to pop up my wormwood if they peek around that door, because it's a little too close for pistols. So I dump a grenade and form up on them, because they're figuring, okay, if they charge on either direction, we'll pop down the other. But I'm not a big fan of this position. You can get completely swarmed. If they decided to pick on both sides, we would have been in trouble. So Roacon moves to the boxes. I stay over here on the right with Beast. And we're waiting for somebody to peek out, and nobody does. They're just running on the clock. As you can see, we've got 10 seconds left.
Just 10
so
seconds
now
to
we
go.
have to get to the flag point. And as soon as Roacon sticks out, boom, he gets stuck. I decide to go to the point and loop around because they seem to be to my right. And sure enough, somebody comes up right behind me. I just get there, and what do you know? He's got a shotgun. Matador 64. And that's why I'm not a big fan of this map. And now with 2 of us down, they just bum rush.
Now it's
Beast.
tied, 4-4.
Yeah, and it's down to the wire now, 4-4 each. It's all or nothing. So now our mercy's on the line, and we decide to stick together and see if we can just get them down one long hallway on either side. Nobody seems to be there, so we head back. And then we decide to break up, so I'm going to stay here and cover them in case they peek the mid. And I'm trying to keep my face out of, out of the doorway so I don't get shot. But it's hard because, you know, you want to see where they're at, but you don't want to peek too much because all they need is a sliver. So now I can tell they're over by our spawn. So now I'm heading back to get the res, and I'm sneaking around on the inside because I don't want to do too much in the middle. He actually gets the res up first before me, and the other 2 guys are down. And that's the last one. And I cleaned him up, but he rezzed again. And they decided to pop up and nail him. So that's it. That heavy back and forth actually went pretty quick at the end.
Of Osiris.
Okay, so 3 games to go. We're actually doing pretty well. I actually switched over to my pulse at this point because I figured we were going to be dealing with a little bit more longer range.
How come you don't have a matching outfit? That's what I wonder.
Well, you know, I could have picked on the same one. Believe it or not, I did jokingly at some point actually check to see what they were using and said, "Oh, well, I can switch to it too." But I didn't bother. I was too busy worried about not goofing up.
They're very coordinated.
Oh, they are. They're good kids that have been doing this for a long time. There's actually a guy right underneath me, and I kind of tempted him. I went to get Spesh to see if he would push me, because then I would have pulled back. But he didn't bother. And now that he's underneath me, he's actually under building 2. They're swinging over to the left to take him out. And that's it.
Oh, wow.
Your opponents lie broken in your wake.
Yeah, I try not to stay in the lower mid-sections. There's too much geometry to get cut up on. I prefer staying up high. But that's just me personally.
Keep this up. Victory is
but there's actually 3 levels to this. And a lot of people, they end up fighting down the lower bits.
Oh.
Now, here's what's funny. I actually goof a nade.
Yep, and it works?
But that actually worked and got somebody.
Wow.
Yep. Which was awesome, because he was actually rushing a lot faster than I thought it was. I was trying to get it in the room, and actually stick it in the outside of the door actually got him.
He didn't expect you to nade yourself.
Nope. Well, I didn't actually hit myself. It kind of skimmed me.
No, you ducked out of the way, but obviously, it was obvious that you weren't trying to put it there.
Yep. No, that was definitely not the intention. And yeah, this is where I figured we're going to be doing more longer engagements. So there we go, the assist. So now we're pushing up. So now they're stuck in between these doors, and that one kind of goofed. Also, if you see it, it's shooting up into the wall,
yeah.
Which happens sometimes. I hate it when it does that. Hopefully Destiny 2 will fix that. There's an orb here I gotta cover. And, I didn't want to peek. I was afraid he was going to turn all the way around, and he didn't. He kept going. So now he's heading over towards cave, and I'm expecting to peek down over here. But he actually went completely wide. In fact, what's really funny, a lot of people do this. See what I'm doing?
You go all the way
they
around?
Actually get on top of the spinny bit, and it messes up with your radar, and there I see him. So I figured pop up some rounds, but I was like, okay, he's going to no-land me if I don't get off this thing. So I'm going to actually swing over. Roacon's engages. I pull back, because I want to get him at a distance shot. But he gets nailed, so I'm like, okay, I got to get his res. And I do a big mistake here. I go in ahead and I chase him, and just as I'm thinking I can shoulder charge, nope, I don't have it.
Tiny, tight arms.
Yep, yeah, I T-Rexed my arms there, and he ended up getting me. But that gave Beast time to get Roacon, and having both of them go after him is a lot better than me.
Capture the zone.
So that was a good recovery there.
Alpha team wins.
So yeah, so we get the flag on that one. So now it's 3-0. And the other big thing is revives. Revives is a big part of this game, not only just for the teammates, but also super energy, because there are certain items that you actually get more super energy for getting revives, as well as just the regular game type. So that's something. So timing when you get more super helps deal with your engagements too. And that's the other thing. They ended up getting heavy there, which I did not know at the time. And now, of course, I've got my super. But since the res, and since he had a sword, didn't need it yet.
You earned it.
So now, last game, I've got my super. I think they still have theirs. They haven't used theirs up yet.
This is match point.
Yeah, so you can get a nade in that room. That pretty much blocks off that whole section to do stuff. Yep, he pulls his revive and comes right back. And I swing out over. And this guy, he's hard scoping. I say, all right, goodbye. And yeah, he was looking on the right-hand side. He was completely captivated. What was going over there? Didn't even see me.
I feel bad.
Yeah, I've been that guy many times.
Wipe out the enemy team.
Yep, so one of them's got skip grenades, so we got a blade dancer, one guy's running no land. And this is actually a really great nade. That was actually first blood there, so that made me feel good. And boom, that was it. 2 melees, and they're both, the rest of them are down. That Warlock melee, though, is oof. Especially on a close quarters map like this, it's
the advantage is yours.
Devastating.
Fight to keep it.
Now, would you think that you would ever want to do trials?
Well, you know what? Being a jerk, I might wait until like after Destiny 2 launches, because presumably they're going to continue to operate Destiny 1, you know, on old platforms. You know, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll dig out Destiny on the 360 in the, you know, sometime around Christmas.
And try it out.
And see who is left, you know, who are the dregs left playing trials. That said, there probably will be very good, sweaty people who really know the game very well, and I'll get my ass handed to me.
See, that's the question. That's one of the reasons why I had a self, goal to get all characters at least once before Destiny 2 came out. Because I have a feeling when Destiny 2 comes out, no one's really going to be caring much about Destiny 1.
Now, class-wise, when players are doing carries, do they usually advise you to do something like be a self-res warlock, so that, you know, even if you get yourself killed, you can
some of them maximize tactics, and a lot of times based on not only what you are, but also what other people are. They'll suggest weapon change-up or supers and class types. Even weapons sometimes. A lot of times people just say the best of what you feel the most comfortable with.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that was pretty close.
Your opponents lie broken in your wake.
I think they were going frag out that time.
Yeah, the splash damage was a little heavy on there.
Did not work for them, but.
Yep. But yeah, a lot of times they'll suggest like wearing quick res gear, and they'll relegate you to just
stay alive. Yeah.
Stay alive, get reses, and under certain circumstances, you know, don't use a super till we tell you, or they'll tell you which super to use because either the size, map, game type, or opponents will determine what will be most effective or most successful.
Now, I'm one of those weirdos who generally gets so little mileage out of their super in Crucible or Iron Banner that I often run Fellwinter just to have the extra grenade and extra melee charge.
And you do a hunter a lot, right? You do a Night Stalker hunter or a blade?
My main is a hunter.
Okay. That is actually very effective, and a lot of people in trials do exactly that because, yes, absolutely, because 2 sticky grenades and smoke grenades, this is actually a good cleanup here that I got, are devastating. In fact, a lot of times the tactics I see people use is they'll smoke first and then pistol, and when they get stuck, there's nothing you can do about it. You're already dead. So here we are, game 9, and as you can see, even with the editing, it's actually going quite rapidly.
Yeah.
It really does. It can feel like a whirlwind. And of course, you know, I edited out all the extraneous extras, you know, the going to orbit animations and.
Now, why did you switch from the hand cannon to the pulse?
The pulse. This is probably the most successful pulse right now. This also because of the range and the team shot capability on this, I feel a little bit more comfortable with. The pistol, sometimes if you're not getting your headshots, or if people are jumping around a little bit too much, sometimes it's harder to get acquisitions, whereas the pulse is a little bit more comfortable. I tend to try to take things at range. I prefer getting things either across map or down lanes, as opposed to being up close and personal. When you're that close, you might as well have your sidearm.
Don't choke.
And since people peek out so little, see, this is a great thing for a pulse. That's a great opportunity for a pulse. Those happen more than the pistol opportunities. In fact, this guy's rotating left here, so I dump out a nade to dissuade him. So they can push the cleanup. And he went outside, and he's actually jumping over. As you can see, you can just barely see his knees going across the hall. And that's another thing, you know, people realize where the doors are. They try to jump over them as much as possible. So I push over here to the orbs so I can cover these. And they can head over to the cave and take him out. And he actually jumps up, and boom, melee. And that's it. He just disintegrates.
Your opponents lie broken in your wake.
So he was coming across to the res and didn't have much luck.
Yeah. If your team can keep this up, victory is assured.
Now the other thing is they're actually running a pair of Midas.
Yeah, I can hear that.
I don't know if you've noticed. Which is great not only for team shots, but also Mida is a very, very effective weapon on a map like this because it gives you a speed increase. And here's actually a tough one. They both get grenaded. Yep. And I dump a grenade to push this guy to keep him out. And he says, nope, I'm going to keep going. And he didn't care that he was absolute. He ran in anyway and was able to sidearm me. And that I kind of felt bad about because I really wanted to keep him out or figured that would dissuade him, and it did not.
The team is in the lead.
And what's funny is that the guy that we're playing right now, my carriers that actually played him in the game earlier and lost to him. So we both knew that this was going to be a tough match. So we had to play this really, really smart. In fact, there are a couple of times, you know, getting smoked like that was actually really tough. And I see him on the radar, but I don't even see the target, so I fired down suppressing fire anyway. And there's the last one. So yeah, so getting those distance lanes like that, because pistols have been nerfed yet again. In fact, they pulled off another, I think, like 3 to 5 meters off of the range of pistols. They just don't have the same range that they used to. So you could have one, but at a distance like that far, it's tough, or you're not doing max damage on it. And that's where the pulse, I thought, would be more successful, especially if I don't peak that much. Which I'm definitely trying desperately not to. Now this one's a tough one because I've got to get him up. And I figured, okay, I got my super, I'll go in, and bam. So that gets that guy. Oh, so now I'm going to go around for the other res, and unfortunately, guess what? He's got heavy, and I didn't realize it. So it did push him back a little bit, so they were able to get the res and go. But yeah, I wouldn't have pushed that if I knew that he had a machine gun. So yeah, paying attention to see who gets what, you know, especially when things go crazy, it's tough. But you know, it's funny because I was remembering the game that you played in Crucible just recently, where we actually got a chance to watch the stream at the same time.
Yeah,
and you were doing a lot better. You said that having an extra pair of eyes really, really helped.
Yeah, there was a couple of times when you pointed out something that I was like, I wasn't looking at. You know, I did not have a detailed radar on. Oh, all right. So they're just going frag out, stay together, trying to come at you, and it didn't work.
Yep,
they tried that twice.
And that is that.
Yep, that
is the complete passage. So flawless victory. The non-edited version put it just under 50 minutes. It was 49 minutes and change. So less than an hour and Lighthouse. And that has never happened with me before. Ever. So kudos to the guys that carried me. Thank you, Rokon. Thank you, Beast. You guys were fantastic. They actually were being really, really cute. up at this point. But the reason I mentioned the Crucible stuff is I think after a while you were starting to get in it, and I could definitely tell you were improving, you were getting better. So I think the more you do it, and if you were to play Eliminations more often, you might get interested in actually trying it, because when it does work, it is a lot of fun. I do enjoy the tactical aspects.
I mean,
These guys were being goofy, though. They were griefing. It was like, nope, you're not getting in the chest. Nope, we're going to push you off. Just to be funny. So now at the end of it, I'm sitting here, I got to actually fight my way to get to the chest. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, you guys are going to be cutesy then. All right, fine. Now let's see about this then. And oh, fake out. That's right. Little juke and over and chest. Ha ha ha. So yep, I got my flawless there. I did not get my sniper though. That's the only thing I have left. But thank you everyone for watching. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, hopefully you will get a chance to watch the Destiny 2 stream that Narc and I are going to be restreaming.
We're gonna do a live
Thursday.
restream of Bungie's Destiny 2 gameplay reveal.
So tune us in then. Thanks again for watching.
Bye.